Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Eric101 here, coming at you guys today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my plan to retire in just 2 years, while I currently do not have any money or a car at all. I used to have a used Mazda, which was totaled by a driver on drugs going 100 miles an hour last July. So since then, I've had no car and no money. So, how am I going to retire in just 2 years? This is a very radical idea. Very few people on the face of the planet have ideas to retire in 2 years. There are a lot of movements going on to retire in 10 years, which is where I basically originally got the idea from Andre Jick, which is a very popular financial YouTuber out of Las Vegas. I'll go ahead and link the video of how to retire in 10 years in the description, which is basically the same sort of idea I'm going to be talking about. I'm just going to be talking about how to do it even faster, or at least my plan to do it even faster. So, first of all, I'm currently living with my mom, and I currently work at Dunkin' Donuts because I had to get a job that I can only work from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. because I don't have a car and I have to use my mom's car. And I used to be a personal shopper, but I cannot do personal shopping with my mom's car because of insurance regulations and since her car is financed and stuff like that. It's a very complicated story. And so I had to find an actual job that I could work from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that's all. And actually, Dunkin' Donuts only lets me work from 8 a.m. to noon. So only 4 hours a day. I'm only getting 17 hours, I think it is, or eight. No, not 17 because that's not a number. It's either 16 or 18 hours this week I'm getting because I'm not working like 3 days on this week. So you can probably figure out the math, or I might have a calculations right here of my hours. But it doesn't really matter. My point is I'm not working that many hours at all. I'm making $11.50 an hour. Um, so I'm not making that much money at all. On this paycheck, since I started out working like a couple weeks ago. I was doing 34 hours, and then I went down to 24 hours. Now I'm working like 16 hours a week, and so, but this paycheck is going to be about $800 before taxes, and so then I might sell some stuff because basically all I need to do is get to like a $1,500 car, right? So once I get that, then I can put my insurance on my credit card for the first month, and then I'm going to switch back to doing personal shopping, in which from personal shopping I make about $20 an hour on average, which is $3,200 a month. So $3,200 a month comes out to be $38,400 per year. So if you times that by just 2 years, you have about $80,000 cash. That's actually 2,000 less per year, so it's 76,800, I believe. Yeah, and so just in cash, it's about 75,000 on a very conservative estimate just in cash. So you have to take out my expenses. My phone bill is not that much at all. It's like $200 a year, so it's basically disregardable. My insurance is going to be about 100. It's going to be about $150 a month, or maybe up to $200 a month. And then my groceries, I pay for my own groceries, which is about $100 to $150 per month. And so you're still left with maybe, I'll say a very liberal estimate, $70,000 after the 2 years in cash. But on top of that, I'm going to be day trading the stock market. And I've been in the stock market before when I was making good income, and I was making about 8 to 10% a month. And so, guys, if you lowball me and say I'm getting 5% a month, well, what is 5% of 60,000? That's still $3,000. And so you get, but it doesn't really work like that because that's a month. So my first month I'm making $3,200. I get 10% of that, that's 320. 5% is 160, right? Yes. Yes. 160. All right. So, 5% is 160, but then it builds up and it builds up because I'm not spending that much money. So by month two, I have about $7,000. More so about $6,500. And then month three, you add another $3,000 on top of that. I have 10 grand by the end of month three. And so by on 10 grand, I'm starting to make $1,000 a month on the stock market. So by month four, I'm making $3,200 cash with being a personal shopper. Plus, I've made $1,000 on the stock market, so $4,200 a month. And so you get to this point very rapidly, where by the 2 years, I definitely have $75,000 saved up in total, invested in total, on the stock market. So which I'm definitely making $3,000 a month on the stock market. And on top of that, even if you want to lowball me on top of the lowball, because $3,000 is half of my actual expected earnings. So I'm very lowball the estimate to make it more realistic for you guys watching, so you guys actually believe me. So say, I'm only making $3,000 a month, right? After the $75,000 on the stock market. On top of that, I want to be a digital nomad and constantly travel the world, which includes to majority of countries cheaper than the U.S. You're talking countries in Central America, South America, and Eastern Europe, where the common salary is about $500 to $1,000 USD a month. And that has something to do with me, really. That's their average salary, but that means it's going to be a lot cheaper for me to live off the just in general, which means if I'm making $3,000 a month regularly and the average salary is $800 a month, I'm doing really good. And again, my actual expected earnings is $7,000, but this is a very low ball estimate. It's at $3,000. So I'm very much set in place to be making, I would say about $5,000 a month is actually a pretty reasonable expectation, because that's not too much of a low ball, because it's not half, but it's not the full expectation. So $5,000 a month in most of the countries, that the average salary is about $1,000 a month. But even in the U.S., you can easily survive off of $5,000 a month. So I'm traveling to cheap countries, into cheaper parts of the U.S. maybe, making that much off the stock market. But then on top of that, I'm also making projects, being a self-published author, which is relatively cheap, or maybe a YouTuber if this works out, and that sort of thing. So yeah, this is more just an announcement of my journey. Of being a personal shopper. So basically, in about a month or so, I'm hoping to start looking for a car, and then it's going to be 2 years after that I'm definitely able to set up being a digital nomad. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I mentioned this in my first recording. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in this recording. The reason I have zero expenses is obviously because I still live with my parents. My parents are okay with me doing this, so obviously I'm blessed to have that. Which is why, if you're out on your own and you don't have any sort of financial aid, like living with your parents is financial aid. So that's where Andre Jick's plan comes into place, retiring in 10 years. Because if you can save 50% of your income, which a medium income in the United States is $50,000, but there's people living off of $25,000 pretty easily. So if you could just take half of that and put it on the stock market every year, you have $25,000 first year, $50,000 second year, and then you're still already, pretty close to what I'm talking about. And if you're as good as day trading as I am, which I'm a very good day trader because I have experience in it. I grew up around trading the stock market because my grandfather was very heavy into the stock market. But even if you're not as good as I am, if you're only making 5% a month, look, In 2 years, you're saving $25,000 a year. You're at $50,000 in 2 years. You're at $100,000 in 4 years. And then day trading the stock market, if you're making 5% a month, that's $5,000 a month just on $100,000. And then you can move, if you're not making that much, you can move to cheaper countries on passports and just move in and out of Central America, South America, Eastern Europe. And again, these aren't necessarily as good as countries as the United States, but what would you rather have? Living in a country that's up here tier wise, but you're working your life away 40 to 50 hours a week, going to work every single day, or you can work in a country that still has developed cities, still has a modern architecture, but you're not working at all. And they might have some stuff they actually like free healthcare, lower crime rates, etc., etc. I'm not sure. I'm not really talking about any specific country when I say those things, but all I'm saying is that they're a lot cheaper. So if you can afford to live if you can afford to live down here, and you would have to basically work the rest of your life if you want to live up here, why would you not live down here? You know what I mean. So that's why digital nomadcy makes a whole lot of sense, and moving to cheaper countries makes a whole lot of sense if you're making money online, like on the stock market or on YouTube or etc. etc. If you have an online business, which a lot of people nowadays do have online businesses, such as on Etsy, or they have their own website, or perhaps they're doing OnlyFans. Who knows? But so that's the great thing about digital nomadcy is you can live in these cheaper countries. You really don't have to worry about a whole lot because you're already expecting to make this much. Even if you make this much, you're still making above the average salary in that country, and you're still living pretty well in a very developed part of that country, a really nice urban city in that country. If you prefer the city life, or you could find smaller towns in that country, which I'm sure are pretty good too. You can travel to the beaches, mountains, wherever you prefer. Really, it's not that the point. The point is those countries are a lot cheaper, and so in 4 years, the average person could save up $100,000, easily. And then day trading, all you gotta do is Google what stocks to buy this week. YouTube, what stocks to buy this week. Do that every single week. You're working maximum 2 hours every single week. That's how much I was working day trading the stock market when I was doing it last year, was about an hour a week, and I was making about 8 to 10% a month. Just Googling what stocks to buy, just YouTubing what stocks to buy. And you have pros that will tell you for free because they want the clicks and they want the views and they want to make more money. And so they tell you what stocks to buy, and then you watch their video and they get money, but then you also make a lot more money. And these guys are pro, they've been doing it for years and years and years, so they know more than you'll ever know anyways. So you're basically just getting free information. So the work of it is not that much at all. And then you're making a lot of money on $100,000 after you've saved up $100,000. And keep in mind, guys, it's not just you're saving up cash all the way through and then you start. It's compounding so fast. So the first year you have $25,000, and so that 13th month you've made $2,500. Idealistically on the stock market, and on top of that, $3,000 a month at your regular job. So it's $5,000 a month going back on the stock market. And so it compounds so fast. And say and even if you make 2% a month on the stock market at $100,000, that's $2,000 a month. You can live in very cheap places of the U.S. on that, but also you can move to good countries in Eastern Europe and Central America and South America and live very well on $2,000 a month and to never have to work again. And so you're talking about retiring at ages such as 22, 25, 28, or even 30. If you retire at 30 years old, most people live a whole nother lifetime before that you already lived. They live another lifetime on top of that before you retire. Even if you're already 30 years old and just start on this journey, you can retire in 5 years. You're retiring at 35. You're retiring at 36, 37, 38. Those are good numbers to retire. So I'm going to go ahead and link Andre Jik's Start Now, Retire in 10 Years from Now, because that's a very realistic video to be following. Which is already what I'm talking about, but he explains it much better because he's an actual financial advisor. I'm just giving you guys my dreams and my goals in life. So I'm going to go ahead and link his video down below. But also I recommend the book 4-Hour Work Week, because just the concept of a 4-hour, not 40 hours work week, but only 4 hours worth of a week, and you're living off of that. So then you have so much free time to explore the earth, explore nature, do charity work, build yourself as like a celebrity, like an online presence. You can make art. You can do anything you want to with all those remaining hours. You can do so many amazing things. But if you're working all the time, you can't really do anything because you're stuck working. And so that's why it's so cool to struggle for 2 years to 5 years to even 10 years. And then you can really start to build that empire and start living freely. But realistically speaking, it's about 2 to 3 years, and you can retire if you're a day trader. So yeah, guys, my plan is to be a day trader. And again, $3,200 first month. I make $320 on top of that on the stock market. Second month, I have about $6,500, so I make $650. Third month, I have $10,000, so I make $1,000. And it keeps on going. Fourth month, I have about $14,000, so I make I make about $1,400. But if in a conservative estimate, I still make $1,000 off of that if you're lowballing me. Right? So you can see how it very easily compounds. Fifth month, I have, again, about 18,000. So how fastly that compounds is very amazing. And by 2 years, you can very easily see how I'm going to be living just off of the stock market and working less than 4 hours per week, exploring the world and being a digital nomad. And guys, this is not really a new concept. The FIRE movement, FIRE, invest now, retire early, or something like that, where frugal investments retire early. I think it's FIRE. And then you also have the digital nomad program, which I've already talked about. You have normal nomadacy, which is your van life people and your homestead people, your living in the woods people. There's so many ways to retire early, but it's so much easier in this internet age because all you have to do is Google what stocks to buy now. All you have to do is start uploading YouTube videos to make a little bit of extra money. All you have to do is write a book and publish it on Amazon by yourself. It no longer costs thousands of dollars to publish your book. Of course, you could still go that route, but you could also self-publish now. You can start making TikToks and get sponsors eventually. There's so many options to make money on the internet. You can start an Etsy shop. You can do so many cool things on the internet nowadays, so it's easier than ever before. But even before the internet, you had nomads that retired early. So it's just a really cool concept. And hey guys, I think that's going to be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!